dump everything on you all because we can't talk to the mayor. I have tried a lot of time to go over there and make an appointment with the mayor to speak on these different issues. Either he out of town or this or that, and I'm getting sick and tired of it. I'm getting tired of it. So your staff do not work for us. You all do. We hired you all to serve and represent this city fairly. You say you love the city. Stop saying you love it and show us. It's just like my lady told me for my 45th birthday. Baby, I ain't going to tell you I love you. I'm going to show you. And she have showed me.
TMI.
Matthew Cardinale.
That's Archibong, I want you to be nice.
Well, I show my love for y'all every time I come up here, so, you know, I don't need any special effort. First, I wanted to follow up. Someone was supposed to bring us the ordinance number that gave Ms. Sheperd the authority to sit on Beltline's board, the alleged establishing legislation, and if we could get that ordinance number and what and how exactly it does what it was purported to do.
It is Mr. Cardinale. The Beltline is actually an entity of the Atlanta Development Authority.
Okay.
And the Atlanta Development Authority actually, up under their bylaws and the bylaws of the Beltline, basically talks about in Article 3, paragraph 3.3 of the, as developed by the ADA and approved by the Beltline Board of Directors in July 12, 2006, ADA created the Beltline and is a development authority. Through that, by virtue of that, the board members, the ex officios who sit on the board of the ADA also represents the board for the Beltline. So not only myself, but Fulton County Commissioner Emma Darnell, and on the Atlanta Public School System, it is LaShondra Butler. We both sit on both boards.
Okay.
We all three sit on.
So it sounds a little bit convoluted. So some city legislation gives you the authority to sit on the ADA board, and then it's ADA's bylaws that gives you the authority to be on the Beltline.
Sit on the Beltline board.
Okay, I mean, I'll review this at home, and if I have any questions, I'll come back on that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now next. In an apparent attempt to shield the Beltline from having to respond publicly, Ms. Sheperd, you said that the committee was satisfied with the questions and answers. Two members of this committee have told me that they didn't participate in a decision that they were satisfied, and Alex Swan stated that he didn't know if there ever was a decision. So I'm just wondering if, you know, if this is misleading, because here I thought that the committee had got together and discussed it and made a decision, but in reality, it seems like it was your decision, but you said that it was the committee's decision. Is that right?
Mr. Cardinale, we are finished with this discussion. I am not going to have anything. You can ask any questions you want. You can make any comments you want. We're finished. I'm finished with this. Now, if any of my colleagues want to take it up, they can take it up. I'm finished.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, I think it's just important for the public to know when you make a statement whether it's true or not, and when there's information that makes it seem untrue, that's troubling.
Every committee here member have a right to ask their questions. If they want to deal with it, they can. I'm finished with this. I have nothing else to say.
Okay. In addition, the Atlanta Beltline, Inc. made a deceptive statement in their answer to question number 1. I have proven this in black and white to this committee through documentation, and this deceptive statement is now part of the record of this community. Is this committee now a vehicle for Atlanta Beltline, Inc. to use to deceive the public? Is not a single member of this committee, is there not a single member of this committee who believes that they should have to address in public their answer to question number 1? Question number 1 was, why did you oppose a requirement for 30% AMI housing at 10% of the units should be set aside. Their response was that the recommendation was never made by BAHAB. That wasn't their original recommendation. And I brought you all the documentation that showed that that was, in fact, their original recommendation. I just think that if this is on the record as an answer in this committee, it should be accurate. And if there's a question, they should have to answer to it. A question as to the accuracy of their statement, they should have to answer to it.
Mr. Bond.
Okay, well, I'd like to make, I guess, a motion to ask is it BAHAB or Beltline that made the statement?
The Beltline Inc.
It was Beltline that made it about BAHAB.
Yes.
Or that we requested they clarify their answer to number 1. And then we'll get into it.
Ms. Archibong.
I think that, and I had spoken to Mr. Tam about it. I'm relatively new to the committee, and I wanted to know if BAHAB had been to the committee in a while, and he said that usually they come, and it's been more than a year since they've been here. So I was wondering if the committee would be interested in having, instead of just hearing it from one source, I think to Mr. Bond's point, to have BAHAB here, give us just an update on what's been going on and some of the considerations that they're grappling with.
BAHAB hasn't been into this committee in about a year, and they are charged not only with making the original recommendations, but monitoring the progress of the trust fund and possibly revising their recommendations. So I think those are both great ideas.
So is there, you're asking
I'll
for,
accept that as a friendly amendment.
so can you all state for me very clearly, or to Mr. Tam, what did you all want to see happen?
Well, they need to, I guess, since BAHAB hadn't been here, that we request that they come and that Beltline clarify their answer in light of the contradictory information that has arisen after they've made their statement. That they clarify their answer for accuracy.
And what I will also do in terms of that is I will make sure that my colleagues get the document with the response that the Beltline has given. I think that they were a part of the record, but that maybe you all need to revisit it. So I'll make sure that it is, that you all get those copies of that.
Okay.
You're referring, Ms. Sheperd, to just the answers to my questions, or has there been a subsequent response?
Well, you know what? At this point, I'm confused in terms of the dates of the time that you asked the question. So whatever has been submitted, I will make sure that you all get copies of it.
Okay. I also, do you have to take action on that, or, where are we?
Do y'all want to take a vote on that?
Well, Mr. Tam's going to do it, right?
Can we
could vote against it, doesn't matter.
A sitting member of the committee made a request.
Mr. Young.
Yeah, any member of the committee is entitled to make a request of staff. He's just simply made a request for information.
And the request is that for that to come back before this committee? Is that what y'all want, or do y'all want that just on a one-on-one to confer with Mr. Cardinale?
Well, you can come back. If they're going to come and present, then they'd come back before the committee anyway. Yeah. So I guess we can get the answer by the next committee meeting, and that's like a month away, right? Because we're on recess. So that ought to be an adequate time for them to answer and then to schedule whenever they're going to come and visit.
Ms. Archibong?
Well, I understood, just had a brief conversation with Mr. Tan, was it a week or so ago, just asking about BAHAB, and I think they would come on some sort of rotation. I don't know, maybe you know. You would know. If it is the practice of the committee to have BAHAB come and give, periodic updates, I'm just saying, can we schedule one?
Well, and I guess we need to clearly define what is the purpose of BAHAB. Is it the purpose of them to come and give reports to the committee, or are they serving by virtue of the Beltline in terms of being advisory to the Beltline? So we need to get some definition of what BAHAB, what is their purpose? And so, maybe we can resolve this at our next meeting. Because I'm not sure if their goal was to report to the committee or was their goal to be an advisory capacity for the Beltline. And I believe that that's what is their goal, but we'll make sure from a legal perspective that is actually what is happening here. Thank you. Anything else?
Oh, yes. Ms. Sheperd, you said that you reviewed the materials. You didn't tell us. Did you learn anything new from your review of the materials? Are you thankful that I, as a citizen, brought these issues to light? Because ultimately, I wanted you to review the materials. And instead of us sitting here being bitter about it, it wouldn't be nice if you could say, I did learn something from those materials. Because I take a lot of time to come down here. I want this committee to be successful. I want more from this committee. I want more from this city. And there's another issue of deception. There's a deception from BAHAB in terms of them saying that the 2 units that were funded with the trust fund were affordable to families who made 30% AMI. But what James Alexander told me, I guess I'll have to finish this later. There is a second issue of deception, and you'll be hearing more about it in my next presentation at CDHR. Thank you.
And just let me say this again, is that what Mr. Cardinale is asking is something that happened in 2008. A vote was made on it by the council back in 2008. I chair this committee now, and we're bringing forth things that were recommended. Again, BAHAB is an advisory committee to the Beltline. So even whatever they recommended, it is not that they are the authority. They make recommendations to the Beltline, and the Beltline virtually makes decisions at that time. And in 2008, I was not sitting on the board of the Beltline, by the way. So whatever decision was made that was brought before the committee and was voted on by the council was made by the Beltline at that time and was voted on by the council. So we're rehashing something that has happened 2 or 3 years ago. So again, I just want to make sure you all clearly understand that also. And at this point, like I said, I because of that, we're spending a lot of time on questions that, like, anybody has the right to disagree. Obviously, Mr. Cardinale does not agree with the findings. But at this point, unless there's something else, I just feel like we need to move on. And so that's why I am not going to be dealing with any other questions in reference to that. If you all as colleagues want to do with that, that's fine. So at this point, we're through. So next portion to speak, Mr. Tam.
Ron Shakir.
Good afternoon, Ron Shakir, Southwest Atlanta. I would like to say to Matthew Cardinale, we appreciate you. And the people who watch Channel 26, and I know there's a lot to do, we appreciate the hard work and ideas that you, and the oversight and the transparency that you speak on when you come to City Council.